Good evening, you're watching Rwanda Television News in English. We'll begin the bulletin with the headlines. Some of the refugees living in Rwanda are worried about the reduction and removal of the UN funding allocated to them. Places of worship which were closed recently due to non-compliance with the requirements now have some of their followers found praying in other illegal places. On the international scene, an NGO is conducting one of the largest school meal programs in Kenyan history. My name is Olive Nete. It's a pleasure to have your company tonight. Happy Sunday. Now we go straight to the news in details. Some of the refugees living in Rwanda are worried about the reduction and removal of the UN fundings allocated to them. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Rwanda says that these changes are due to the fact that only 37% of the support was found, which led to this reduction. Adam Squizera with the report.
In Mahama refugee camp in Chile district, there is a flow of refugees across this camp where everyone is busy working. It is a time where from this November there will be some slight changes to all refugees living in Rwanda because some of their allocations are going to be carried off completely and others will be reduced to a certain extent. Of course, they are not happy with this decision.
Twasanze ari kibazo hano murabona mu bidukikije nta nkwi zihari aho dushobora kuronka hano dukura amakara none se bumva havuye ibicanwa cyukuri bumva twaje tubaho gute.
Yes, it's an issue. Since when you look across this surrounding, we don't have fuels. We don't even have anywhere to get charcoal. So how do you think we will survive? That's why I want this fuel support should at least remain there. In these changes, it is expected that the refugees in the first category, who are given 10,000 Rwandan francs per month, will now receive 8,500 Rwandan francs. Those in the second category, who used to get 5,000, will now receive 4,250 Rwandan francs, while those in the third category will not receive any fundings. It is in the meantime, those who already use gas will continue to receive it since it is still available in the store, while those who used to get money to buy firewoods will no longer receive them, and those who are sick, who used to be sent outside the camp, will no longer receive anything unless necessary. UNHCR External Relations Officer Lily Carsley explains the main reason for the cut of these UN fundings.
The reason for this is that the support we receive has also decreased because until this month of November, we have received 37% of the support that should have helped the refugees in Rwanda. The support is not only reduced to the refugees in Rwanda, but also to other countries across the world, and this is a sad decision that was made. In the past few years, there has been an increase in urgent problems that need more assistance, such as war in Ukraine, Sudan, and the problems in the Middle East, which is why the funds allocated to refugees has been reduced, especially in countries where there have been refugees for a long time, such as Rwanda. We are still advocating for more funds, and we will keep the refugees informed on that situation.
Currently, 6% of refugees living in camps in Rwanda do not receive these UN fundings, whereas 3% of them are needy, while 9% of them do not live in the camps, which means that they don't get any fundings other than medical care. The leaders of these refugees request advocacy in order to that their funds should remain as it is, since there are many who will be affected by this reduction or removal of the allocated funds. It will really affect us, since even in some schools they are no longer getting gas, so you understand that all this will affect the well-being of some students, which can even lead some teen girls to drag themselves in prostitution in order to afford their needs. It can also lead to family misunderstandings, since where there is hunger, there can also be escalation of some other challenges. In the meantime, there are some refugees who have taken the step to have other beneficial activities that support these UN fundings they get, which further improves their well-being. Before we had where to get a capital, Lake Ingomoko provided us loans which helped us to start up small enterprises. Those fundings also helped as well as in raising my capital. According to the ministry in charge of emergency management, MINEMA, and its partners, finds that the most sustainable solution is that these refugees should engage themselves in various programs aimed to self-resilience.
N'ubundi impunzi tugomba kuzifasha kugira ubushobozi kugira
Indeed, what we do is to build the capacity of these refugees, which house them on their daily basis, evaluating the funds from various partners in this space dedicated to those capacity building programs such as Jambiri project, which helps refugees to participate in some activities aimed to develop them, and there are other projects as well which are dedicated to help them to be self-resilient. In Rwanda, there are 134,519 refugees, where 62.2% of them have fled from neighboring DRC, 37.2% from Burundi, and 0.56% from other countries. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for the report. Now to religious matters. Places of worship which were closed recently due to non-compliance with the requirements now have some of their followers found praying in other illegal places. They say the closure of these temples has also created another problem. Adams Kwizera once more.
It is on Kidiza Hill, Wumbogo sector in Gasao district. Some of those who used to worship in the closed temples moved to pray on this forest and other illegal places. They say that closing of the temples has been a solution to one problem that has caused another. Like you see, it is raining. Do you think you will move from here to Chimirong? Like Adepa had a temple there in Masizi and another one here, but they closed it. Yes, I understand, but you know that even Jesus used to worship and pray in the desert. Some of the requirements of the temples to be allowed to operate include having equipment that can be used to deal with fire, lightning, noise pollution and others. They must also be in place provided by the city of Kigali's master plan. The Post of North Church in Rwanda advises those who pray in illegal places. You might face some problems in those mountains, and that is why we urge Christians and followers of various churches to worship in illegal places. In case their churches are still closed, they can use other churches that are open. However, Bishop Nizeyimana Innocent pointed out that there are difficult documents to be found for temples.
Ibijyanye n'amasuku byo ni ngombwa, bizijyanye na za kizimyamwoto ni ngombwa ko amatorero agomba gushaka za kizimyamwoto, ibijyanye na soundproof nabyo ni ngombwa ko.
Regarding the hygiene, it is very important. Regarding fire extinguishers and soundproofs, they are necessary too. But on the other hand, there are other clauses we find difficult, especially that says that the land permit should be registered under the church's name, yet many are in rents. The city of Kigali has not yet announced the full long list of the churches that have been closed due to non-compliance. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Now to other matters, there are survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi who are requesting the authorities to closely monitor the use of the government support for vulnerable genocide survivors. The Ministry of the National Unity and Civic Engagement says that often this problem is caused by local leaders who do not fulfill their responsibilities. Adams Kwizera again.
Nizeyimana Onesphore, a 59-year-old survivor of the genocide against Tutsi in Nyarugenge sector in Kigali city, says that he have been on the list of those who should be given accommodations for many years ago, but has not been possible for the reasons that have not been explained to them. Like there is a list that was approved on 10th, if I'm not mistaken. They listed those whom they want, only. Since 1998, 240 families from this sector of Nyarugenge have got accommodations through the government support that was allocated to the survivors of the genocide. The president of Ibuka in Nyarugenge sector, Kayihura Evariste, says that the problem of Nizeyimana has been clarified. By that time, it was found that they haven't been appeared in the census that was conducted way before. On that mistake, we are trying to correct it as well. Even yesterday, we were in the meeting of approving some projects dedicated to them. I know him, and we're even planning to put him on the list because we know that he has missed many times. Currently, there are 5,400 needy families who have never got accommodation across the country. including more than 50 families from the Nyarugenge sector. The Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Dr. Bisman Jean Damascene, says that this was caused by various reasons, including poor accountability. The Committee on Unity, Human Rights and Fight Against Genocide recently visited all districts in the process of monitoring the livelihood of the genocide survivors after the responsibility of the institutions such as FARG and CNRG, which monitored their lives, was transferred to the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement. The president of this committee, Nyirahirwa Veneranda, knows that the results of these tools and the conclusions of the parliament on the issues that have been identified will be known in the future.
It will depend on how that bill will be structured, since it is even according to the issues that have been found. When it is necessary to call upon the minister, we do. And when it is also necessary that an organization has to explain how it all went, we do it. So that's how it will be carried out.
In the discussions the members of parliament held with the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement, the ministry said that when the leaders at the local level cooperate with genocide survivors, the government's assistance will be provided to those who are in need than others.
Now to health matters, the National Child Development Agency indicates that the number of mothers who do exclusive breastfeeding has reduced by 6% between 2015 and 2020, but the country urges mothers to breastfeed properly for the growth of their babies. The country's goal is to reach 100% in exclusive breastfeeding. Follow the details. Pascaline Nyiraneza and Deborah Uwizeyimana gave birth during this week. They say they understand the importance of properly breastfeeding their babies. I will take care of myself so that I may also be able to breastfeed my baby. I know that it is important to do exclusive breastfeeding. When the baby is not well breastfed, it has an impact on his development. It is important to do it properly because it is his only meal. On the other hand, Jeanette Mukamunana, who has given birth a few months ago, has ended the maternity leave. She has returned to work and she takes the child with her to the Early Childhood Development Center of her workplace. She says that this approach assists her to work well and also take care of her child.
Nibura nka nyuma y'amasaha abiri bashobora kujya kureba umwana nkamwonsa kandi nta kibazo kibaye.
At least after every 2 hours, I take some few minutes to go and breastfeed my baby. And this is done without hindering my work because I plan accordingly. This helps me to carry out my responsibilities well since I know my child is in a safe environment and close to me.
Umwana ari ahantu nizeye kurusha ko namusiga kure aho ari kure yanjye.
However, there are some other parents who do not breastfeed their children properly, as confirmed by a midwife who monitors mothers at the Gikondo Health Center in Kigali City.
Banga konsa neza kuko batigishijwe akaba atazi se umwana yakonswa ryari igihe kingana iki.
There are parents who do not do proper breastfeeding because they are not taught how to do it well, like when to breastfeed or for how long and many more. But also, there are others who refuse to do so with the reason that they want to keep their shape. But there is need to teach them the importance of breastfeeding. Normally, mothers should breastfeed at least 8 times a day. Irene Wankunda, the head of the Department of Nutrition and Hygiene at the National Child Development Agency, urges parents to properly breastfeed their infants to prevent anything that may result from improper breastfeeding, such as diseases that may impede their growth. First of all, we urge mothers to breastfeed exclusively for the first 6 months. Mothers should breastfeed only without even mixing with other things, not even water. And exclusive breastfeeding in Rwanda was at 87% in 2015, but in 2020 it reduced to 81%. But our goal is to reach 100%. Knowing the importance of breastfeeding and experiencing it in conjunction with the daily work of the mother must be accompanied by raising awareness among employers. According to Parfait Jimmy Ntwari, the Acting Director of Human Resources Management at the Ministry of Public Service and Labor, the awareness campaigns are being done in various institutions, especially those in the private sector.
Breastfeeding in workplaces is beneficial to both the mother and the baby, since the baby is well breastfed, and this helps them to grow well. But this also helps employees to be productive at work, since they know their babies are taken care of. Because when this is not done, it leads the mother to quit or to take leaves so that they may first take care of their children. And this becomes a problem to both sides. We are currently working to raise awareness and work with various people as well as those in the private sector so that they may get to understand the importance of this program.
Rwanda is in a week dedicated to breastfeeding until November 7. The theme focuses on encouraging breastfeeding at workplaces. Students at the Nyundo School of Arts request that this school be included in the touristic destinations to be visited in Rwanda because it would help to introduce the culture of Rwanda through arts. We have the details on the story. At the entrance of Nyundo School of Arts, there are various artistic works. These include paintings, sculptures, photographs and more that were done by students of this school over the years. And they are masterpieces of high value, as some of these pieces worth millions. Artists, including students, enjoy what they are learning because it starts to pay off while they are still in school. When the students' artwork is sold, they get 20% of the total cost when materials used are of the school. But when they use their own materials, they get 70% of the total cost.
The money that we gain from this truly assists us because with it, we start our personal artistic works. And by continuing to do that, it improves also our skills.
The first challenge that we have is that some of the artistic works that we do, which are even beautiful and approved by the teachers, only stays in the schools. They are not exhibited or sold anywhere. In this school, in more than one room, there are different works of art made by students at different times. Almost all of these artworks are used as records of the history of Rwanda.
nk'iyi taburo mubona ni iya mbere ya jenoside yakozwe muri 1992 n'umunyeshuri icyo gihe witwaga Ntakirutimana Emmanuel.
This artwork was done before the genocide. It was done in 1992 by a student who was called Emmanuel Ntakirutimana. During the genocide, it was damaged, but we redesigned it, and it was bought by Lieutenant General Romeo Dallaire at $100, but he requested that it should stay here in the museum as a reminder of the history, since it also reminded him about the past of how people used arrows as weapons to fight against violence or injustice and strive for human rights.
Although these works of art are priceless treasures, the teachers and the school administration find it a challenge that these artworks are unknown, which is why they want the school to be made a touristic site to make it known and get buyers.
ibihangano biriho ibyo gusubirwa birahari ariko ntabwo bibyazwa umusaruro ukwiye.
We do have various artworks, but they are not sold as we would like. Yes, we get people to buy some of these artworks, but then I think that if there was it would increase the number of people who buy them.
Ndumva kugura izo za evre biziyongera.
Kindi abakerarugendo basura igihugu usanga akenshi na kenshi bibanda ku bintu by'ubugeni.
Most tourists who visit the country are attracted by artworks. Yes, they visit parks and get to see animals and other natural sceneries. But then when they want to take gifts back home, they take these artistic works. So having this place as a site would improve arts in general.
Regarding this proposal, the Rwanda Development Board notes that they are analyzing potential additions to the touristic destinations, which may include the Nyundo School of Arts. The Nyundo School of Arts is the only artistic school in Rwanda. It has been established in 1953. Students of this school are selected based on their artistic ability and proficiency. Currently, there's also the introduction of technology-based arts. And the story puts an end to tonight's bulletin, but before we leave, a quick recap of our headlines. Some of the refugees living in Rwanda are worried about the reduction and removal of the UN funding allocated to them. Places of worship which were closed recently due to non-compliance with the requirements now have some of their followers found praying in other illegal places. On the international scene, an NGO is conducting one of the largest school meal programs in Kenyan history. And that is all that we had on our program today. Many thanks for staying with us. Have a blessed week ahead.